In that moment, I was sitting there watching this film, realizing that the reason I had ended up working on the doctors was because of this moment right here. This film needed someone to understand how you're going to make science and medicine and a legal story make sense to everybody. And that's what I had done for the last 10 years of my life. That and a whole host of other things led me in that moment to recognize that there was very little free will to the life and journey I've been on. Even though I thought there was, I really think I was trained. I was being created and built for the moment that film met me. At a rare moment, where I think I actually thought, not only am I qualified for what this film needs, I think I am the most qualified human being on the planet. I understand both sides of this. I haven't been vaccinated. I hate this law, SB 277, and I want to stop it. And I understand the science because that's all I've been doing, and I understand the media. Who else could be sitting here right now? How incredible the odds that I'm the one sitting here right now. And so I decided that I was going to step forward and make that film. And I knew it's all right to talk, but I really want you to try and understand something. In that moment where I made that decision, I called my wife and I said, honey, I think I've just found my destiny. And I believe what I'm about to do here will probably destroy my television career and everything that, you've been standing with me and helping, supporting me and getting to this point. We may lose all of that. Now, it wasn't a really PC conversation. I wasn't calling her and asking for permission. I told her this was what I was going to do because I had to. And I'm lucky that my wife said, Miguel, whatever it is you need to do, I trust you, I believe you, and I stand with you, we'll make it work. And so, what I want to say to you is, from that moment on, you saw VAxXED. You saw this incredible attack upon it. It swept the world by storm, all of which I knew was possible sitting there. When I sat there and watched that film, and I had the 10,000 documents stacked next to the film that Dr. William Thompson, the whistleblower inside the CDC, had provided, I said, this thing can change this conversation forever. But what I don't talk a lot about is what happened in my life in that moment. The moment I decided to make VAxXED, up until then, I've been a producer, and I don't know how many people in this audience work in television and film in the arts, but a producer is the type of person where we've got to think of every problem that's going to happen before it happens. That's what makes you great as a producer, is you're able to predict, outcomes and difficulties, because you're spending a lot of money when you have crews and lights and sets and everything that's going on. You got to make sure that there's very few mistakes. And so I was one of those people that was really good at planning things out, really good at predicting what was going to happen in the future. And I know a lot of you, I'm saying this because when you come up to me and you say, Del, how does this end? Where is this going? What's the plan? What am I supposed to do? What's my job? And the truth is I, like you, have been watching what's happening on the Highwire. And I'm amazed at what we've predicted and what's come true and how many times I've gotten to say, I told you so, but I think so many of you credit me for that. Wow, Del's a genius. I mean, he said that 8 months before the CDC said it. But the truth is that the moment I decided to make that film, I lost all of my long-term forward-thinking vision. It's true. Might be scary for you to hear that, because I know a lot of you are here thinking, oh man, he's got the answers to where we're going. But the truth is something happened to me. When I decided to make that choice, it was a choice that made no sense whatsoever. My logic and my reasoning and my mind that I had trained to be really good at deciding where we're going and the future avenues was incapable of wrapping its head around the choice I was about to make. And so I stepped out in the abyss, not knowing how we would pay our bills, where it was all going to go. And all I can tell you now is every day I take a step off a cliff. And every day my foot lands on something that is stable and profound and brilliant. I'm not doing it. I can only bear witness to something so much bigger than any of us is. Something so powerful and divine that is guiding each one of us. I have to believe that if I have a destiny, every single one of you has a destiny. The universe must be honored. There's no way it's selected. And so wherever you are in this journey, with the things that you care about, I can only say this. Your destiny is in your hands. Your intellect will never help you find it. Turn it off. Just like Kevin Jenkins said, turn off your television. Turn off your fear of everything. Listen inside your heart. We are all being told what to do right now. Step forward into what you're feeling and watch what happens to your life. Walk in faith. I want to say another rule number 2 for me is watch how often you say the word I.
Summer.
This is something that took me a little bit to discover. I was VAxXED released and I was driving home from the airport. We were being attacked by every major newspaper pretty much in the world, certainly in America. We were being called baby killers and all the rest of it. It was pretty intense, I have to say. I knew we were going to make waves and that was the whole plan, but you never really know what it's going to feel like to be attacked everywhere you look. And I happened to be driving home one day from the airport. I was just leaving LAX and heading home. And I think I was on the 405, and suddenly this cold black fluid ran from the top of my head down to my toes. I was ice cold and terrified. And it was so bad I couldn't drive. I pulled over to the side of the road and was sitting there almost hyperventilating. I'm sure, I don't go to doctors, as I told you. I suppose it was a panic attack or something like that. But I felt really alone and really afraid. And I remember thinking, I've got to calm down. And so what I naturally just said to myself was, all right, Del, let's just think this through. All you are as a filmmaker, all you did was put people in front of cameras, you let them speak their truth, and you edited that together. You're really good at editing, no doubt. There's a lot of emotion in that film, but all you are is a filmmaker. All the rest of this noise and everything that's going on here is not you. You're just a simple person and a vessel for the truth. And so it went away. I felt a lot better, and I drove off. And then a month later, the same thing happened again. Like this cold black fluid from the top of my head down to my toes, totally terrified, totally alone, scared. And I talked myself down again. All you are is a filmmaker, Del. You're thinking about too much. And I couldn't figure out what it was, and I thought there's got to be somewhere that this has started. There's somewhere where I'm planting a seed that is turning into this place of fear for me. And then I happened to pick up my Bible, and look, I don't want to be, I don't care what religion you are, whether you're Christian or Jewish or Muslim. That's not the point. I'm only referencing the allegories and the stories that I grew up with. But in the New Testament, there's this story that I happened upon in my Bible, and it was where Jesus ends up in the desert for 40 days, and Satan is there, saying, "Ah, man, you look like you're hungry. If you really, you could turn this stone into bread. You could bring down your angels. You can make water. You can do whatever you need to do to survive this." And that story stuck with me. I didn't know why. And then one day I found myself, as I was having a really busy day, and I couldn't get to bed, and I thought, you know what, I really should have called that other senator, and I could have done more. I could have done more today. And I was being really hard on myself. Seemed like a good thing, right? We're all supposed to really be invested, which I was. But then I recognized how much I was starting to say I, as though I'm the only one on this planet that's going to save this. I'm the only one that can fix it. I'm the one that made the movie. I'm the one everyone's looking at. I. And suddenly I was so freaking alone. There was no one who could help me. And I realized, stop saying I, God. You're just a human being. Remember, it's going to take us. All of us. And I let it go. I haven't had any sort of panic attack like that since. Because every time I catch myself saying it comes from, by the way, the thing about Satan is the slyest serpent of all, the slyest. It uses our empathy. It uses our compassion. Call it ego, if you will. It separates you from everything else, making you want to be special. And when I let go of that, I was free to take every risk that was necessary and able to handle every step that lay ahead. So I'm saying to you, you're capable of doing enough. You don't need to feel guilty. Don't let fear be what gets you up in the morning. Let it be your love that's 7-18%. Let it be the idea that you want to be a member of this family that's making a difference in the world. Because we are the only chance we have. Together.
Yeah.
Not together. Stop saying no. I actually rarely take notes, but this is a note. All right, here's my next one. Number 3, do your job. This is actually a quote that I'm stealing from Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. Every time you ever see them win the Super Bowl, there's been lots of them, they ask Bill Belichick, how is it that you win? Or actually they ask his players, what is it that Bill says? He says, well, he tells us to do your job. That's it. So it's our philosophy. But his philosophy may seem simple, but we all kind of suck at it. What it means is focus on what your job is, who you are, what you can bring to this. I'm so tired of hearing about all the infighting in all these different groups in California. Look, it's happening in every state. It's not just you guys. It's all of us. Right? No, we're having an argument because the way forward is to have a judicial approach. No. That won't work with judicial approach. We got to get involved with we got to get the president. We got to elect the president. No, it's none of that. We got to go out in the streets. We got to march. We got to hold signs. No, that never works. We got to get on television. Will you stop it?
Thank you.
Will you please stop it? There are people, each one of you, that is bringing a special perspective to this entire thing. Each one of you has a talent that I know nothing about. Don't come up to me and ask me what it is you're supposed to do. I have no idea what your destiny is and how you've been designed. Only you know that. But recognize this, that person you're arguing with right now about how we're supposed to move forward, they're getting in our way. They're contaminating what we were going to do. We had a journey forward and now they're getting in the way. And we've got newcomers here. We got newcomers that don't understand what we've been through, how far we've been, and what we've learned and what we haven't. I've heard it all. I've been in all your think tanks. I know what you're talking about. Stop it. Let them do what they're going to do. Whatever they're focused on, that is what God is telling them to do. They are the vessel for that approach. Stay out of their way. Do your job. Stay focused where you are. You want to carry a sign and stand out there? Josh Coleman's your guy, man. He's right there. Amazing, brother. If you want to start a podcast, start a podcast. If you're a lawyer and you want to sue somebody, go sue somebody. None of us knows what is going to push this over the top. People come up to me, who's our Rosa Parks? As though Rosa Parks said, you know what, today, I'm going to make history. That's not how it works. Rosa Parks listened to her intuition. She did what was right, and that's it. It was simple. Probably was tired and said, F this, I'm sitting down right here. And she changed the world. You know, there's a good friend of mine, Kelly Gallagher, who helped me get involved with VAxXED, the producer. And she says, I want to make a documentary called The Narcissism of Activism. I thought that was a great title. So let's be clear on what's happening here, right? I mean, as activists, many of us are starting groups. We're all being guided to do what we do. We're all A-type personalities, right? We're A-types, we're out there. But even worse than that, even worse than A-types, we're rebellious A-types. Going against the entire system, the government we grew up inside of, the medical establishment. How in the hell do you expect us all to get along?
That's right.
That's crazy. And so every time I go to a think tank like Dell, we got to figure out a way for everybody to get together and to have one common goal and one common statement. And I say, okay, we could do that and spend the next 120 years trying to pull that off. Because which one of us is going to write the official statement? You know how many arguments there'll be over that? And why'd you pick them? Why Dell? Dell's not the guy. Don't do it. We need to hit this thing from every side. That's what's happening naturally. We're winning right now because of all of you and all of your different approaches and all your crazy minds and how you're doing it, what you're guided to do. They don't know where it's coming from. It's coming from all over the place. This person's talking about mercury. That person's talking about aluminum. That one hates aborted fetal cells. I mean, they just won't make up their minds. Because we are the greater mind. We're bigger than all of you. They want us on one singular front. They want us to line up like a bunch of chickens so they can cut our heads off. We need you to be diversified. We need you to be special. We need you to stay out of another special person's way so that everyone gets to the finish line in their own way. That, I believe, is the recipe for success. Number 4. I only have 4 on the list. We'll see if I stop there. There is no such thing as bad press. I want this to really sink in. When we had first made VAxXED, we were just about to be announced by Tribeca Film Festival, and I wanted to have a final edit on it. We had a great meeting. I think it was down near Santa Monica or below, Huntington Beach, I think, at somebody's house. And I screened the film. A bunch of producers and actors and people like that. And my now good friend, Isai Morales, was sitting there, and he said, Del, the film's great. It really is. It's powerful, it's emotional, impactful. He said, but there's been other films like it that were also great. Greater Good, Bought, Trace Amounts. And they all are being buried, like none of them saw the light of day. What is your plan to get back seen? I said, well, it's kind of a simple plan. Most of those films interviewed Dr. Andy Wakefield. And they all said to themselves in the end, you know what? He's so controversial, he's going to like bring bad press to the film. And so they cut him out of the film. He told me about this as we were working. And then they got no press, and they got buried. I said, with VAxXED, we're going to take a different approach. Not only is Andy Wakefield going to be in the film, I will be touring with him as a Hollywood producer celebrating.
Let's see the shirts. You're not wearing them?
Andy Wakefield directed this movie. It's a calculated risk, and here's how it goes. I believe that a film directed by Andy Wakefield at the Hollywood level that this is going to come out will piss off the medical establishment so much that they will go against their own best interests and use all of their lackeys and all the news media they own to attack us. And they will put this conversation of vaccine safety on the map for the entire world to see.
That's right. That's what we need to do.
I didn't know when it was going to happen. I remember when we were going to be announced at Tribeca Film Festival, though. True story. I started calling Tribeca. We were about a week and a half out, and I don't know if you know how it works. I mean, first of all, as a filmmaker, Tribeca, you know, that's like the Sundance, Tribeca, Cannes, and like the Academy Awards. So I was really stoked to finally be at Tribeca. But I thought, you know what, they're going to announce this film, and all hell's going to break loose. So I kept calling Tribeca, trying to get hold of the PR manager there. And they'd say, well, she's really busy. You know, she's really busy. Who is this? I was like, well, I'm Del Bigtree. I mean, look, there's a bunch of movies.
Hold the signs while he's talking.
I said, it's really important. It's urgent that I
I'm
talk to
videotaping.
PR
Hold the signs while he's talking,
like,
so it'll be
not available. Can I take a message? Blah, blah, blah. So like the third time I call, finally I get like the head of PR for Tribeca. And she's like, what is it? I know you've been trying to get over. Well, I said, well, here it is. On Sunday afternoon, in the week of Tribeca, we're sort of like one of the last screenings. Our film is going to screen, and you're about to announce it in about 4 days now. And I would like to tell you, I don't think you should do that. I was thinking maybe what you could do is just put special screening or mystery screening. A film so controversial, you won't know what it's about until you're in the theater. Swear to God, I had this conversation. And she's like, wow, I mean, Del, is that your name? Yeah. Well, look, that's a great PR, move, and I get it, it's really clever, but we don't need clever, moves like that to get our films right. I said, no, you're not listening to me. All hell is going to rain down on you when you announce my film. This is going to be the most controversial film you have ever had at Tribeca. She said, you know what? I appreciate your passion. You seem passionate, Del, but we put out controversial films all the time. We know how to handle it. We know what we're doing. Trust us. Thank you for your time. And I look forward to seeing how your screening goes. She hung up. Well, 4 days later, we're not even the first one. Listen, like 10 rows down, and all these films are, coming out in the documentary category. And sure enough, the gates of hell open up. Village Voice, New York Times, Washington Post, CNN. How can Tribeca allow baby killers to put a movie in their festival? It was insane. Absolutely insane. We're attacked from every side. I don't know how many of you were aware when that was happening. I know a lot of you knew, but how many watched that craziness? It was crazy. And so there was about 3 days where it looked like it was all over. I'm like, there's no way they're gonna stand up under this. And then Robert De Niro decides to get involved. And Robert De Niro gets on the television and says, well, the world doesn't know this, but I have an autistic child. I believe my wife and I, Grace, we believe that the vaccines had something to do with our child's injury. This is a film that we're going to screen at Tribeca. So I was pumped. I thought we were cool. And then about 2 days later, right when I was, about to watch the ABC News piece on Tribeca and how Vax was going to be in there, and I'd been interviewed by ABC for the first time. I got a call from our distribution company who said, Del, you've been pulled from Tribeca.
Videotaping him.
A real bummer moment, I have to say. I was standing there thinking, oh man, so my career is screwed. I mean, I messed up my career, and now the film won't even get into Tribeca. And I remember thinking, God, you know, it's always been a dream of mine to be in Tribeca, and here we are, and now we're kicked out. And then it sort of kicked in. I just thought, kicked out? I don't remember hearing about anybody ever being kicked out of Tribeca. That's like historic. That's awesome. We're gonna be like one of a kind. I can do something with that. And so the news and the media began. It was everywhere. And I remember talking to a friend of mine that does advertising for films in Los Angeles, a lot of Disney movies and Universal. And I called him and I said, hey, just out of curiosity, I mean, you see me all over the news. Like, he's like, Del, I mean, you're under assault. It's like everywhere I look. Everyone's talking about your film and they're attacking you. He's like, do you need like a crisis management team? I was like, no, I want a crisis inflation team. Do they have such a thing? He's like, what? I was like, I want more. I don't want it to stop, but here's my question. If I had hired you to advertise VAxXED, how much would it cost me to get the name recognition we now have in the world? He said, wow, Del, I mean, you can't really calculate that, but I'll try to give a
20 million.
thought. He said, Spiderman Returns released the same weekend that you did in New York. I think they spent around $100 million in advertising, and you were out competing them with VAxXED on every single media, social media platform in the world on your opening night. And so when I go to events like this and I hear, oh, they banned the press from coming in. Oh, we're not letting the press in. We don't want them. I'm like, why? Why are you banning the press? The press needs to hear the truth. They need to hear what we're saying. I have nothing to hide. I'm telling nothing but the truth. I'm showing nothing but the science. If they don't hear it, how do we change the world? I had someone reach out to me recently. They came up to me just like this. They said, Del, I work for a major newspaper, I won't say who, and I'd love to do a story about you, but they'll never let me do it. I was like, really? Like, yeah, you know this topic. I said, yeah, I do. So how about this? Attack me. What? Attack me. Do a hit piece on Del Bigtree, the crazy lunatic that's spreading vaccine misinformation. So are you serious? Like, yeah, I'm serious. Attack me, just let me get my full quotes. Let me tell my truth. You can have anybody on the other side. Get Paul Offit, Peter Hotez. I don't care. Just let me tell the truth. There's a lot of articles out there now. I don't know if they're on my side, but they're letting us get our quotes. They're letting us tell our truth. Recently, I forget what it was, Daily Mail or one of them, asked me ridiculous questions. And I kept answering them, and I know none of what I'm writing out is going to be printed. And then they gave me more stupid questions. And finally at the end of it, I answered all the questions. I said, I think we're done here. I doubt that you're going to really write what I've said or what I've told you. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you for writing this article, because when you print it tomorrow, all of the disenfranchised human beings in the world that no longer believe in the medical establishment because someone they know has died or been injured, that saw how quickly this was rushed on the market without a proper safety trial, maybe had 2 shots and they were told that was all they needed, but now they're being told they need a 3rd. All of those people need to know who I am. They need to know where our movement is. And because of your article, despite whatever you write, they will know who Del Bigtree is, who the Highwire is. They will find me, we will grow, and you will shrink, and for that I'm eternally thankful. Get in their face. Tell your truth. Don't be a jerk. Don't walk up to a camera crew and say, what are you doing here? You always lie. I don't do that. I was really nice about it. I didn't call this guy names. I just said, thank you. Thank you for putting this out there. I don't know if you've been watching the news lately. I don't know how aware you are, but to me, we are winning in such a major way. Now it's hard. It's It's got to be really hard for you guys here in California, especially if you live in Los Angeles. Man, it's bad. It's bad. Maybe second or third only to like Australia, Israel, and then Los Angeles. And I'll be honest with you, you know, there's a whole world on the other side of the border of California that is so beautiful. Isn't masking, going in any restaurant we want, kids in schools without masks on, like it's happening out there. And so I'm here to tell you, there's hope. There's hope. You're on the front lines though. And I want to thank you for being here and for fighting. And as you stand in this fight, as you look around, it might feel really dark, but look what has happened. Look what has happened. When I came out with VAxXED, I kind of felt like that moment in, I don't know if you remember the film Braveheart. It's one of my favorite films, but he shows up to the big first battle, you know, and all the lords are sitting there in a little circle, like conferring amongst themselves. He comes up, what are we doing here? Like, well, we're talking about whether we can win this and, you know, how we're going to do it. Like, you know, he says, okay, and he just starts running off from the horse. I'm like, wait, where are you going? He says, I'm going to pick a fight. That's what we did. The strategy was to pick a fight, to be attacked. We needed to be attacked. That was the strategy. We knew we were up against Goliath. Probably the most powerful industry the world has ever known, with more hooks and financing into every government agency in the world. We had to pick a fight. We had to have them make a mistake. How many of you were saying to yourselves, Del, it's like we're all frogs in a pot and they're just so slowly turning it up that we're all going to boil to death. Remember, how many times have you thought that? You thought that, right? So how do you win in that situation? You got to get somebody to turn that heat up a heck of a lot faster so we can get the frogs to jump out. That's what VAxXED was doing. That's what Josh Coleman does every time he gets out there with a sign. We're picking a fight. We're trying to piss them off. We need to make them to make a mistake. And boy, did they ever. This pandemic is the greatest thing that has ever happened to the cause of health freedom. Robert Kennedy Jr., me, Sherry Tenpenny, we could have done this for years and years and years. In fact, many before me were. And we never saw crowds like this until Joe Biden decided to force you to wear masks, to bring vaccine mandates that were illegal. And you know it, some of you were awake before this moment happened. How many of your friends are now saying, you know what, I wasn't listening to you, I didn't get it, now I get it. This is all part of the plan. Not my plan, really. The plan. Jack! I don't know if you remember your Old Testament. Pharaoh, every time Moses would go to Pharaoh, Moses would throw down his staff. Pharaoh would say, oh my God, all right, you got a lot of power, your God's great, get out of here, take the children of Israel. And then the Bible would say, then God hardened Pharaoh's heart. It never made sense. Like God's like playing both sides, Dad, I don't understand. God is everything, Del. That doesn't make any sense. Now it does. We're not here. We're not here without a Joe Biden. We're not here without a school mandate. We're not here without a mask law. We need those things to pressure against it, to beat it, to show the world how sick these people are. So lastly, because you are in the thick of it, and many of you are asking yourselves, am I going to take this vaccine? I have my job. It's all right. Let's not speak for those that are here really asking themselves this question. You're saying, how am I going to feed my family? They're going to take away my job. There's firefighters here tonight fighting for their lives, not getting paid, pushed aside simply because they won't take this totally untested, liability-free product that is killing people all over the world and destroying lives. We're in the thick of it. What do? Do I give in? I have one point I'd like to make. I get it. I do. I understand. You have to feed your family. I did too. But before you make that decision, ask yourself one question. How do you plan on feeding your family if you are dead? Because that's what this vaccine is doing to countless people in the short term. Now we're moving into the midterm. We're starting to see many of the issues we're worried about. And the long-term effects of cancer and autoimmune diseases, God only knows. If you've seen my interviews with Geert Van Bosch, oh my God, God help us, I pray he's wrong. Even though he's been right about every other step so far. There was one other person I called after my wife. It was my father. When I was sitting in the basement of Andy Wakefield's house, I had just seen VAxXED. I had just found my destiny. I thought I want to call my dad. Because my dad was the one that always told me, make a difference in the world. He was a minister. He was passionate, you can only imagine. And I thought, you know, when I was about to head to Hollywood, and I said, Dad, I don't want to be a minister, but, you know, I want to go to Hollywood. I want to reach more people. And he said to me, Del, Hollywood usually tears down the human spirit. It shows the ugliest part of ourselves. If you're going to go there, raise us up. Raise up humanity. Speak to the beauty inside of all of us. So this seemed like a perfect opportunity because I really felt like this was going to be that moment. So I called my dad. I said, Dad, here's what I'm going to do. And there was silence for a moment. I was waiting for it. And he said, don't do it. I said, what? He said, yeah, don't do it. Del, look, are you crazy? You have a family. You have a house. You know how long I watched how long it took you to get your career rolling, man. Don't mess that up. It's like I felt like I put you up to this. I made you believe you could make a difference in the world, but seriously, there are times where you just don't need to be a target on a losing battle. I mean, you're supposed to be smarter than that. I think I said that, and he was like, I feel like I put you up to this. He said, what I wanted to get through to you is there are times where you need to just lay low. Don't be the one they're firing at, lay low. And when he said that, I was on the phone. And I really imagined myself, getting down like the tall grass. And I could see like these boots marching on a dirt road. The image was so clear. Nazis marching down the road, and the tanks were rolling by, and the clattering wheels, and then the motorcycles. I'm sure it was all the images I had gotten growing up watching these movies. And just when I thought that those boots were going to disappear off in the distance, I heard them as they started to move around and crunch through the dry leaves and the sticks as they started to encircle me and surround me. They knew I was there. And I said to my dad, Dad, there's no point in laying low the moment you realize you're surrounded. I said there was one other thing you taught me when we were little kids. My father would say to me, if you're ever abducted, if anyone ever grabs you and pulls you in the car, I think this started when I was like 3 years old. They're ever pull you into the car, I want you to escape. You escape at your nearest opportunity. He said, look me in the eye. Did you hear me? I did not say your best opportunity. I said you escape at your nearest opportunity. The first chance you get. Because they taught us in the military, my father was in the Army, that the longer they have you, the better they have you. My dad said, I do remember telling you that. I said, Dad, we're surrounded. This is supposed to be game over right now. I said, this film VAxXED that I just found and stumbled upon looks like an ICBM missile laying in the middle of this field, and I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to fire it. Because that's all I know how to do. And what the hell else do I have to lose? Because here is the point, everyone. Stop wasting your energy asking yourself if this is really happening. Stop saying, oh my God, I want to pinch myself. You got bruises all over your arms. Cut it out. They are this sick. They are playing to the death. They've told you they are not going to walk away. Tony Fauci has drawn a line in the sand with Rand Paul and everyone else. He is so sure he wins this that he's putting his entire life on the line. Because if we win, he is going to prison. And worse than that, for an ego that big, he will go down in history as one of the most evil human beings that ever walked this planet. So honor your opponent. Honor that they are still bringing this insanity, even though every single district court that has been there has pulled back on Biden's mandate. Because we're winning! Because every newspaper that they own is now reporting on vaccine injuries, is now reporting on people disappearing, and we're watching videos of athletes collapsing on fields because you cannot stop the truth. But you have a destiny, and you must wake up to it now. We are surrounded, and the moment you realize you're surrounded, hiding, running is futile. Now that you know you're surrounded, stand up out of that grass. Look for the weakest part of this line that you know you can break, and go and fight like hell! This is our time! We are God's people! We are going to win this! We are going to bring it home! We are the future! We own this! They will bow down to us as they bow down to the God in all of us, and we will be victorious. Thank you. Bigtree.
Part of freedom too, I remember. It all ended. She thought it was a crowd left. I didn't take it personally.